visitors sing, as well as an opportunity to sign up for public to do that. And I'll start with our land acknowledgement. All of the Spokane Public Library buildings sit on the traditional homelands of the four bands of the Spokane tribe of Indians. Upper band, middle band, lower band, and Cholula band. Since time immemorial, the Spokane tribe of Indians has lived and cared for these grounds, identifying themselves as flesh of the earth. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. We show gratitude to the land, river, and peoples who have been fishing, hunting, harvesting, and gathering here for generations. May we learn from one another's stories so that we may nurture the relationship with the people of the Spokane tribe and to all those who share this land. All right, are there any changes to the agenda? And if not, we can adopt it. Changes. All right, we'll consider the agenda adopted. And our first action item is approval of the October 2023 board minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and now approval of the October 2023 bills and contributions.
I move for approval of the October 2023 bills and contributions in the amount of $1,184,345.09.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. And now we have the finance report with Nicole.
Yeah, thank you. Right up front and close. So for the October 2023 library operations financial report for our cash and investments trend, we closed October with the ability to cover 155 days worth of operating costs in available cash and investments. And that balance is now at $6,533,619. That does include our reserve and is net of encumbrances. For our expenditure trend, October operating expenses were $1,061,078, and over 66% of that was for personnel costs. We had capital equipment that was purchased for $75,864. This does include $66,551, which was for our network cable upgrade project, which was a carryover from 2022. We also had 2 replacement RFID gates at Central that we also charged that month for about $9,300. Our capital books and materials totaled $71,263. Our interfund charges were $45,555. That includes fourth quarter charges for accounting services. Our third-party security costs totaled $37,379. Total utilities, including the storage site, were $27,136. We also purchased some public computers for $22,092. I'd like to pause for any questions on the operations side.
What amount did you say for the capital equipment? I think I heard something different.
So the total for capital equipment was the $75,864. Of that portion, so $66,551 was for the network cables, and then $9,300 was for the RFID gate replacement.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions around the operations? Yep. Okay, move on to bond. Okay, so obligations that were executed under the increased threshold authority during the month of October. So our Group 4 contract was modified to add services for Integris architecture. That was to design and revise the scope of the Nevada property site. It includes the dome interior structures, the structural foundation, which includes the electrical and mechanical, as well as plumbing to support the dome and greenhouses. That amount was $94,420. Additionally, on that same contract, it was modified to add the design and scope of the 24 project additions in the amount of $27,500. Additionally, we had a purchase order that we issued for Integris, and that was for the design and revision of the library sheds. Those are going to be located at Liberty Park, Hive, and Shadle Park branches. Here's a snapshot here. You'll see that our remaining budgets as of Halloween is $1,619,737. We've been kind of working on, we'll later, we've got an agenda item. So you see we've got current open contracts is 8, so we will have an agenda item for board approval to award a 9th contract that we'll be working on. We did get a total of 7 bids on the requests for proposals. It was great. And then here's just a high level, on the very last page, is the high level snapshot of all of our projects and their current status. So total is 57. We've got 15 active and 30 closed. Soon we'll be moving quite a few into the sent for closure status, such as Meridian, once we get kind of more things finalized with them. So for business office updates, we do continue to work alongside the Spokane Public Schools as well as parks to kind of make progress on our levy renewal process. As far as my role in that is really working with their finance people to ensure that we have the same message and that we're using the same figures when we're educating the public. Angie will have more in-depth update as to where we're at on that right now. And then also we did, after posting for the accounting specialist position, we did in about a week and a half get over 50 responses. So still reading through those, and we'll be scheduling interviews soon. So any questions on bond stuff or anything in general?
I would ask, where were we posting for that particular position?
Indeed.
The only place we posted?
We also posted on the city site as well and internally, but Indeed had a lot.
Yes.
So it's really well.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Nicole? Hey, Nicole? All right, the next item is the chair's report. At this time. So we'll move on to the library director report.
All right, I do have a written report as part of the packet. As Nicole said, we continue to meet with Spokane Public Schools, City of Spokane and Parks regarding upcoming funding issues for voter consideration. I do want to thank both Laura and Danny for attending one of those meetings. School board members also in attendance and park board members, where we kind of went over the history of how the partnership started, and we talked about the value of working together and not in competition with each other in building something greater for Spokane. And so thank you for being there. It's been a while since all those entities got together as far as the legislative bodies of those entities getting together. So I thought that was a good step forward. A small group of us attended the Urban Library Council's annual forum in Seattle. And there was a lot of interest in what we're doing here at Spokane Public Library, particularly our deployment of Folio, which is our iOS system, our launch of Startup Spokane, Jason's awesome value score calculator, which you cannot believe the interest in that. People are just so interested in what's the mathematical thing that you've been doing? Something with a pivot table or something like that. But lots of interest in that. I'm trying to really create quality programs. And of course, our school partnership, a lot of interest in that as well. I'm also trying to re-engage more out in the community with different leaders out there. The past couple weeks, I met with a Spokane Symphony director, the director of neighborhood services with the city. Never really had to sit down with him until now. And I plan on meeting with the new director of City Cable 5 to talk about different partnership opportunities for us moving forward. As far as our DEI efforts for the past month or upcoming month goes, our next book discussion will be around Invisible Women, Data Bias in a World Designed for Men. And we also created a blog post and reading recommendations to honor North American Heritage Month. For our collections, I wanted to highlight actually a new service that we have in the Video Lab at the Central Library, where folks can actually bring life to their own personal media collections. We started bringing opportunities for folks to bring in media to digitize for free. So they can bring their old formats in and we can digitize them. And a lot of people don't even know what's on these items. So it's a surprise for them. But that's been getting some traction with Ryan. Current formats that we're able to digitize include VHS, SHVHS, I didn't even know that existed, 8mm, film slides, photo negatives, and mini DV. So we'll see how that service enhances folks' ability to see what's in their closets or up in their attics or in their garage. Currently reviewing bids for work on the Nevada property. We'll have an agenda item for that later, as Nicole had mentioned. We also had a really productive staff day in October. This is the first one that we've done that's all day in quite some time. It was a great day. It was filled with learning, creative opportunities for folks to engage, team building, and a lot of connection time for each other. As a library system that serves the entire city, it's often hard for us all to get together. So making the most of that time with building up the teams is really important. And I think that we'll be moving forward with those full staff days in future years as well. Some new additions to the teams. We're welcoming Larissa Zenz to our South Hill team and Ella Martinez to the Hilliard team, both as clerical assistants. And Kaya Stone moved from Hilliard to Liberty Park. And we're currently recruiting for early learning specialist, a music educator, and as Nicole had mentioned, an accounting specialist. Our star spotlight for October went to Dana Bronson, who, as you might know, is our Inland Northwest Special Collections Archivist and Librarian. And she's just done an awesome job of creating a different culture of welcoming to the customers in the Northwest group. And really a highlight is that collaboration that she did with the Carl Maxey Center, the MAC, and Eastern Washington University and the city of Spokane in organizing a community scan day for Spokane's Black community. Really looking forward to more of those events in the future as well. And finally, we come to our levy measure, which disappointing to see that it's been stalled. As far as the decision goes, we were hoping to get the go-ahead from City Council on November 13th. About half an hour or an hour prior to a briefing session on the 13th, we heard word that it would be delayed. So all sorts of thoughts going through my head at that point. But I think it's a good chance for the new leadership that's coming in to review and really put their stamp on these measures as well. I continue to be hopeful that on December 4th, it will be passed and on the ballot in February. The sort of negative of this delay is that it does cut down on our communication time to the public about the urgency of passing this levy. But I still have confidence that we'll be able to pass it and do our job and do our due diligence in informing the public of what's at stake. I know that Council Member Zappone has been a real champion for us on this effort, as well as incoming Council President Wilkerson. So all I can say is we just need to be patient for the next couple of weeks. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share with council, I encourage you to do that as well. But we're kind of in a holding pattern. I'll be meeting with Mayor Brown next, I think it's a Wednesday, to get her take on the library measure and what it means, not only for us, but for the city as a whole. So I'm looking forward to that conversation, and I will continue to keep folks updated as things evolve. So with that, I just wanted to open it up to questions. Thoughts?
So assuming it passes it gets put on the ballot after on the December 4th meeting.
Yes.
We need to stand up our campaign committee before then, or soon in that timeframe, so we can get the donations from the foundation, or because of the linking of partnership with schools.
So the plan would still be to do both a joint information-only campaign with schools and parks, if parks is involved as well. So that would be more on our operational end where it's just the facts. This is what happens if it passes, this is what happens if it doesn't. And the schools are still willing to partner on that messaging. And then on the other side is that advocacy aspect, which would be, a political action committee. That would be, the hope is that we would be able to partner again with the school's infrastructure on that. And that is still in the works, should this make it to the ballot, which it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we are their partner
Right.
in this, and any negative impact to our budget is a negative impact to their operations. As we're running their middle school libraries, it's not in a silo, it's not in a bubble. So, they would feel the pain should our funding get cut as well. It's not just a library issue. This is an education issue. It's a support issue for the entire city. So there's joint interest in a streamlined approach of that.
So last time we partnered with them and partnered in their PAC. So we had donations from the foundation and the library that went to school PAC essentially.
Yep.
That wasn't our contribution. So we're anticipating that we'll hopefully do the PAC again in February.
They are both aware that there could be an ask coming from the PAC for dollars, and they are ready to have to order them.
But just so the other trustees know, the amount that those groups are able to donate to our advocacy efforts is limited by their budget each year. So that's one of the other reasons why it's very important for us to try to get the ballot date set this year, is because then we can get twice as much of funding from them, because they can do one for this year and then one for next year. If we don't find out until January, February, that we're going to be on the August ballot or the month ballot, then we only get half as much funding towards the campaign. Plus, we would have to do it alone. So we need a lot more money then. So it's kind of a rocky place.
Yeah.
That's what happens. All right, any other questions for Andrew? All right.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have the council liaison.
It's good to be here. This is my last meeting with you all. It's been short but sweet. I serve on a couple boards, and this is my favorite. I say that honestly. Nobody yells.
We're gonna find out, Ryan.
She wait, Mary's here this time.
But just thank you for the work that you do. I was disappointed not to vote on the library levy while in my short term. But having talked about this with all but one of my council colleagues, I know there's a lot of support for the library. I know the one concern that delayed this was there are members of council that just feel the Measure 1 failure was kind of a writing on the wall as to the temperament of voters to take on any new taxes. And so while I think there is unanimous support for the library, just the concern of the council that was raised was when is the best time to put the library in the best position to achieve success. So I think that's the concern. I talked about this with incoming Councilmember Paul Dillon and Katie Klitsky, who will be between them, who will take the place on your board. I know that they are very supportive. So I just wish you future success with that. Just a couple more things to share. This next week, we will vote to hopefully pass a balanced budget As it stands today, the mayor's budget will move forward as is with just potentially some changes to how traffic calming dollars are used. So we don't anticipate any changes to the budget that was released. And then I have some VHS tapes in my garage. Back when I was a magician, where I wore far too many sequins, so I'm excited to bring them to the library.
We want to see those
them
tapes.
just-
With those, we might make those part of the Inland Northwest history. Just for,
Absolutely.
you know.
Posterity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, and now we have the communications.
Hi, everyone. Alina here, representing the communications department alongside Skylar. Amanda is out of town for Thanksgiving. So a few highlights that I just wanted to bring up to note within the communications report is Amanda and I had a really successful trip to Indianapolis for the Library and Communications Marketing Conference. And we presented on Building a Story Brand, which is a book by Donald Miller, and it was really well received. We had over 100 people attend our session and got some really great feedback. So we were very excited about that. And we learned a lot too from other sessions that were there. This last month, or what we're currently celebrating Native American Heritage Month, Global Entrepreneurship Week, with Startup Spokane, and promoting National Novel Writing Month. So all of those things are happening simultaneously with different audiences. Skylar launched an awesome new teen newsletter. Remind me of the title.
Library Lowdown.
That's right. So Skylar launched a brand new teen newsletter. We've been collecting signups for this newsletter for quite some time. So we finally were able to launch that teen newsletter, and it had a 44.4% open rate, which is really quite astounding. Average email open rate is like 21%. So it's, yeah. So it's it doubled the industry average, which is really incredible. You'll hear about this in a little bit. I'll do a little presentation on it, but we launched our Be Your Best Self campaign. And so look forward to sharing a little bit more of that later. We've really been, in all honesty, crushing Facebook posts lately with some extremely high engagement. This month we had our second highest engagement on a post yet in 2023, so for the whole year, and it was the haunted Spokane walking tours that Skylar put together years ago, and then we reutilize them every year. Do you want to say anything?
Actually, so Vanessa Strange and Eva Silverstone created this list during the pandemic, and we share it every year, and it's so popular that we just keep sharing it each time.
Perfect. Thank you for giving that correct credit. So that kind of leads me into the next TikTok. We continue to have kind of a slow and steady pace there. We're still trying to figure out what kind of videos people want to see, who is our audience there. And so we continue to just explore that social media platform as one for the library. Amanda and I attended a workshop at the Library Marketing Conference all about TikTok and learned some new things and gained some new ideas. So we're hoping to utilize those as well. Library TikTok is really a big thing. So it was really fun. And then as for earned media, I guess I missed over YouTube. YouTube continues to be an incredibly reliable source. I'll touch on that a little bit later when I do the presentation as well, as to how helpful it can be in spreading our name, and the advertising has been really great so far. But the organic content also just continues to see really great long-term organic engagement in terms of like the Ask an Emergency Preparedness Expert videos that we did years ago. Still continues to be one of the most viewed videos we have on our YouTube page every single winter. So pretty incredible. And lastly, the earned media that we have, we enjoyed some great media coverage from this year's Spokane is Reading event with Kim Fu, and at least 7 articles and stories on our partnership with the Carl Maxey Center to Preserve Black History, what Andrew was saying before. So really incredible things happening from the marketing and communication side as well. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. All right, and now we have the program report with Jason.
Yeah, 363 things in October, which is the record so far of events happening. 202 of those are the one-on-one specialties that we have with Dana, Mark, and out there quite a bit. Last month we had 272 things, so it's 91 more, about 2,000 more people coming in October than in September. Value score, which everyone loves to talk about apparently, was up to 17.5 as an average score, which is up from 16.88 last month. We're going to make some tweaks to the scoring in the coming months, so there's going to be some apples to oranges that I'll have to explain to you, but it was a good month for programming. A couple highlights are for youth programming. Yeah, Mason hosted kids mending class, which featured 3 sewing instructors. We had we're doing another You Mend It Cafe in November as well. Those are very popular. We had the Lego Masters from Spokane. Everybody watched that show. There's 2 of them that are a brother and sister team that are from Spokane. They did a program with us in the summer. They also did another Lego program in October, which was a big hit at the Hive. Kathy, who you're going to hear from very soon. Lots of STEM events. We did a solar eclipse, but it was cloudy, but but they watched it live inside and had a great time. So. And for adult stuff, a couple of reading things. We partnered with SCLD on the Spokane Writers Conference, which was a big success. We held a bunch of events at Central on the 27th of October and then some events at the Spokane Valley Library on the 28th. Also, as was mentioned, Spokane is reading. And that's it. Any questions?
So I just have a request,
Yeah.
and that is on this sheet where you show us the graph.
Mhm.
I can never remember what the UCL is and the LCL is, and so, like, if you could just like
I'll label them
label
better.
it, that
Yeah.
would be
Upper
awesome. So
control
then,
limit and
when I,
lower.
it's like from month to month, and eventually I'll get it, but I was looking at the
Yeah.
Same thing, I was like, I know this.
There could be better labels on it.
so I would appreciate
Noted.
that. if you would.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Any other questions for Jason? All right. Thank you, Jason. Okay, now we have new business. Our first item is the STEM programming overview with Kathy.
Should I get my head out of the way?
Yeah, probably.
Is it where in the,
In the
I think it's too much for parents.
I can just click for you.
Or I can do it.
Okay.
She's on.
Well, everybody, thank you for letting me have a chance to talk about what I do for the library and for the people here in Spokane. So I am a STEM librarian. I don't have a degree in STEM, but I have a library degree and a lot of experience and interest. I serve on the youth services team, and my primary audience is preschool through about 5th grade. Trying to push that up a little bit with one of my program series. So you guys know what STEM means? I'm pretty sure you do. But I like this graphic because it gives some really cool action words that go with these different fields. So things like making predictions, experimenting, making things work, using tools, figuring out materials, things like that. That gives a little more, of an action, perspective to STEM, which can be intimidating to people. What I really do is called informal STEM education. You ever heard of that before? Informal STEM education is STEM-themed learning that happens outside a formal classroom with a formal curriculum. There's a lot of places you can do this. You can do it here at the library. You can do it in science camp during summer. You can do it in tinkering spaces. Well, I think there's only one of them, Coeur d'Alene. But anyway, so there's lots of places, after school programs. The Mobius is our local science museum where you can do these kinds of activities. What we're trying to do is put the fun into STEM. We're trying to attract the interest of the kids. And I'll talk a little bit more about why this is important. But first of all, where do I fit in our mission? So our strategic direction of educate our citizens is where I fit in really well. Inspire a community of learners and be the resource for free learning opportunities for all citizens. So I was trying to do a little bit of thinking about where people can get free STEM education in Spokane. Not at Mobius. At Spark Central, they run a Lego robotics club. And after school clubs and summer camp offered through the school, but I'm not sure all those summer camps are free. I think they have a charge. So now we have 6 locations in Spokane: Hilliard, Central, Indian Trail, Shale, South Hill, Liberty Park, where kids can see at least some free STEM opportunities. Early exposure to STEM is very key in attracting kiddos into the STEM fields in later years. So this is where kids learn their STEM identity. Now, a STEM identity refers to whether a kiddo or adult, you guys count too, feels comfortable and confident enough to succeed in a STEM field. And the research shows this, it starts in preschool. Starting in preschool is when kids start to get exposed to STEM, and as they see that they can do it, they feel more and more confident. That eventually could lead them to the all important STEM career fields that we all know are going to solve our problems in the future. Now, anybody tell me why this paperclip can float on water?
Surface tension?
Yes, exactly. Let's talk a little bit more about surface tension. So, is there anybody here who can't touch dairy products? Okay, good. Jenny, will you give me a hand? We're going to do an experiment today.
I still have my drawing from when.
There's no magic involved.
Same thing. Here. Okay.
Andrew, aren't you going to do it? All right. So, first of all, I'm going to have you, oh, Jenny, would you pass the milk around? First of all, I'm going to have you pour like about this much milk, about 1/3 of an inch of milk, and just pass it on down. Now, normally I wouldn't let the kids do this, but we're gonna have a little talk here about how basically one of the things that I like to make sure kiddos know is to follow directions, to consider their own safety and that of others, and to learn how to slow down, how to watch what they're doing, how to use the tools that they're given, how to squeeze food coloring without squeezing the whole bottle out. These are all preliminary skills that kiddos need to be successful at. But while we're passing the milk around, surface tension is a property of liquid where the molecules on the top layer, like around this paperclip, are connected together. Because they're on the top layer, they're more snugged up than all the other little water molecules in the water. So they have a bond that's stronger sideways across the top of, say, a glass of water or this pond or whatever this is. So because of that, it takes on a property of an elastic surface layer. So you can see in the image, hopefully, that this is actually bending, the water is actually bending around this paperclip. Have you ever seen one of these? Surface tension is the reason that water striders or water boatmen can land on the surface of the water. And in fact, they swim along across the top of it really fast, considering their small size. So let's have you guys, you have food coloring. And I'd like you to just squeeze a drop of food coloring, all 4 colors, multiple drops across the top of your milk. You can either do 4 drops of one of each color close in the middle if you like in a pattern of 4, or just put as many drops as you want. So go ahead and do that.
You're not supposed to shake it, Andrew.
I wasn't told not to.
That was not part of the-
I was told not to.
Part of this is finding out how you follow directions.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem.
Right. So, you can add more if you like, but I'm just gonna illustrate what the next step is gonna be. So you each have a couple of cotton swabs. So I'd like you to dip a dry cotton swab into your milk and observe what happens.
Under the inky part or just the milky part? Anywhere?
Try the milky part, but you can try the inky part too and just see what happens. Did it affect your drops of
Yeah,
color?
they move.
Yeah, they move a little bit. That's partly surface tension pushing them out of the way. Now you also all have a little dish with blue stuff in it. Can anybody make a guess what they think that the blue stuff is?
Dawn dishwashing.
What do you know? So now I want you to generously cover the top of another swab. You don't have to deal with the wet, messy one. And get it all covered up with the soap. And then I want you to put that into the water, I mean, not water, milk, and hold it there.
Look at how many times I've seen it.
All right.
It's like a Grateful Dead concert.
Tie-dye. You can move it around, but you can leave it in there in one place, move it around and just watch what happens. Does anybody know what's going on here?
Magic.
All right. So what is the milk? What is in milk? Anybody know? What's one thing that's in milk?
Whey.
Fat. What else? Protein.
Water.
87% water, and some minerals. So the way soap works is that it wants to grab onto fat molecules. So the soap that we just dipped in is chasing the fat molecules around in the milk. And we add the colors so that we can see the action. When the action stops, the fat molecules are all captured by the soap. So that is what just happened here. Now, you can be done whenever you want to be done. This is kind of the end of the science experiment at this point.
So I noticed that it was whole milk.
That's correct. You do need high-fat milk for this assignment. Do not try it with skim milk. It'll just not. So, all right. So that was fun. We know this because of this woman. Agnes Pockels was a citizen scientist who was born in 1862. She wanted to go to college. Her brother got to go to college and study physics. Her parents were old and sick. She got to stay home and look after old and sick parents and feed her brother. One day, she was washing the dishes. She realized that there was a film of oil and dirt on the surface of the water and that the soap made it move. She got interested and she was the one who figured this stuff out. She built equipment to measure surface tension. She wrote in the journal Nature. She was the first woman ever to get an honorary doctorate, even though she never went to college. So because of her being a citizen scientist, an amateur chemist, we know this stuff, and it's still the basis of our knowledge about this topic today. So there you go. All right, so based on your experiences here today, do any of these word bubbles make sense to you? Maybe you've seen them in action. Things like, was it fun? Yeah. Was it messy or potentially messy? Yes. Was it hands-on?
Yes.
Did it inspire curiosity?
Yes.
Yes. And not only that, but you had an introduction to doing experiments by working with, carefully with your liquids and measurements and things like that. You've practiced and reinforced learning skills such as listening. And you've perhaps done this in a family environment so that your family sees you engaging in STEM activity, vice versa. And hopefully it's helped build your STEM identity. It's something as simple as these things that you can find in most houses. You can do a science experiment. So Not only that, but it reinforces the scientific method. So here's a few pictures from some of my kinds of programs I do. First of all, you can see a picture from my solar eclipse event. Here, I've done a series of STEM Play-Doh events where we explore STEM using Play-Doh as the material. And we had a special visitor, who I'm going to give a shout out to Lisa for wearing my dinosaur costume, when we invited Kelly Milner-Halls to join us for Dinovember events this year. And if you don't know who she is, she's a local Christian, local nonfiction writer for children. So, all right, and I do a lot of homeschool events. Well, I do 2 a month. One is geared toward the K through 5 audience, and one is geared through 9 to 12-year-olds. I'm trying to build a community where I can have some tougher things, things that are like take a little more, hand skill, a little more mind skill. So we worked this October with GeoKids, the local Liberty Lake company that sells kits for learning about geology at home. So that was a lot of fun. And we do incorporate STEM into summer reading as well. Work with Science Speak Spokane in the summertime. There are a few local scientists, lab technicians who want to bring science to the kinds of kids who might not ever have a chance to see it and play around with it. They're really great to work with. And I did a Build a Bug event where we learned about insect anatomy and then tried to replicate that with recycled materials. I do a lot of tours and outreach too over the course of each year. Outreach like the math night at Holmes Elementary is where I took this picture. Talked with 80 people about library cards and programming at Shadle. And I am in charge of the story times here at Indian Trail. I do 2 a week. And so there's a couple of pictures from that. All right, statistics. This is the math part of the presentation. So this is my personal statistics, everything I touch, every program I've planned or helped with, which includes some of the summer reading and stuff that might have been planned by others. But it's comparing 2022 to 2023. What's going on here? This column is the number of events total for the year, attendance total, and my average attendance. So in 2023, note that it's the first 10 months only, we already have a 30% number increase in the number of events, 79% increase in attendance, and 30% increase in my average. Now, keep in mind that 2022 was a crazy year, and we didn't even do public events until April. And so we didn't really even do hardly anything on Saturdays. That's why this blanks, because I couldn't think of anything that happened on a Saturday. Where do you see the increases? Story time is huge. We go from 1,200 or almost 1,300 to almost 2,700. And so that really shows that our story times are key. And also the summer reading numbers. And this is, like I said, it's just my numbers. It's not system-wide numbers. But I was involved in activities where 406 people showed up, but now it's over 1,400. So anyway, a couple of quick graphs just to show that 37% of my programs are story time, and all the rest is STEM in these different categories: summer, after school, Saturday, and homeschool. And I keep track of Saturday programming separately because I have a passion for Saturday programming, because people work, people have their kids on the weekend, they need something to do that's fun and free and educational. This is by number of events, by type of event, and you can see it looks very similar. So I feel like I'm kind of in balance here with where my efforts are going. So, all right. And does anyone have any questions for me?
Can you come and do an experiment every meeting?
Sure. If you want to. All right. Yes?
Thank you. I have had the honor of being in lots of your programs, and it's always fun. I just learned that Dishman Hill has nature at home. So when you're talking about like free things, I don't know, and for partnerships.
Yeah.
That was a fun thing to learn. So I thought I'd share that with you.
All right, cool. Yeah, I know there's a lot of things that are going on in sort of smaller groups, or perhaps a co-op sort of situation.
Yeah.
That I don't know a whole lot about.
Yeah. I didn't even realize they had any programming.
Yeah, that's cool.
And if you did programming, or have you read the Zoe and Sassafras books?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
My daughters are obsessed.
Oh, cool.
You do the stuff Zoe and Sassafras.
Yeah, that's cool.
She asked for thinking goggles for Christmas.
There are more and more STEM books coming out. And
Yeah.
I try and highlight a few once in a while.
Thank you.
All right, well, I'll collect up your experiments. Thank you for this.
Thank
You can see that too, right? Okay, good.
It's not your eyes.
That was awesome. Mesmerizing.
So I was made familiar with the term pandemic. Our story time is huge. Because of the
The first time they've been out in these streets.
yes.
Yeah.
Just
That were born during the pandemic.
Yeah.
That were born during the pandemic, not that we're creating. Okay.
Yeah. So we're seeing that trend with
It's so cool.
All right, so now we have the Be Yourself campaign.
Hello again. Andrew's leaving for my presentation.
Yeah.
Okay, so similar to what I was talking about earlier, the marketing team just launched a brand new campaign all about how the library can help you be your best self. And a few things that really went into this were we were approached by an agency called Midnight Waffles. They're a video animation company. And they were working with Andy and they were like, wow, these media studios are so cool. I want to be able to, I want to give you guys a pro bono video. I want to help you to promote these by creating a video for you. So they did it all for free for us. And we had a volunteer actress as well. Her name's Erin. You'll see her in this. The music was done by Andy himself. It was written, basically took the Pure Imagination song and rewrote it with lyrics that are relevant to the library. And then he sang and performed everything as well. And then once we had this video, we were like, wow, there's so much energy and effort that's gone into this video. How can we really maximize all of the effort that has gone into this and the fact that it was free by turning it around and helping share it with the public so that we can kind of build awareness about the library and how many different things and products, services that we have to offer beyond just books, what we're well known for, right? So we started the campaign in mid-November and last Wednesday, and we are running digital campaigns, which I'll talk about in a little bit, as well as some physical aspects of the campaign that you can hold in your hands and kind of pair those two together. But let me show you the video first. I hope the sound works, Tara. I think it will. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Tap into a source of inspiration. There's a world beyond just information. If you want a new lease on life, all you have to do is choose it. If you have a doubt, lose it. Anything you want, your card can do it.
Wow.
You've got time to wipe away any tears.
I'm shocked. Oh, now that insurance rates are really that low. Thanks. Oops.
There it is. Okay, so I'm gonna do, yes, this slide. Here we go. So that video just had such an impact on all of us. And we were like, okay, how can we make it so that this is measurable, that all of our efforts are measurable as well. So our goal was to generate positive sentiment and to engage and re-engage library users. And the metrics that we can use in order to kind of gauge that is through gate count, how many people are coming in our doors, attending events, asking questions, checking things out, and then how many active card holders, both new and lapsed, use basically both new and re-engaged. So the digital campaign will starts with YouTube skippable ads. So you'll have 30-second YouTube skippable ads that are running through the end of January. So it's November 15th through the end of January, January to 31st. And then Hulu, we will start that roughly mid-December and then go through mid-February. We had that one kind of be a little bit later just to continue that awareness around a very convenient time for all of us, which I love you. And so it's more of an awareness campaign surrounding that time frame. And we also wanted to make sure to do social media ads and organic posts surrounding them. So social media ads, we both have where we're promoting the video as well as static images that'll be served to people on Instagram, Facebook, and then organic posts are just kind of supporting images that we just post without any monetary amount allocated towards them. We also have found that Spotify is a really great way to reach younger users. So we ran Spotify ads I think it was like 2 years ago. Skylar was the star of the Spotify ad, and we did a really we had great engagement with like younger, I want to say like younger millennial stage / older Gen Z. So it worked out really well for reaching a younger audience. We also are pairing it. And all of these digital ads are going to this page, Be Your Best Self. It's a unique page that is not found on the main website so that you can track the analytics on the back end of it based on views and visits from those advertisements. A few other things that we're doing that are more kind of tangible products surrounding this campaign are these are going to be like, you know, those little balloons for Children's Miracle Network that you see at Dairy Queen that you can like write your name on if you make a donation. Well, it's not going to be focused around donations. Anyone can fill these out, but they're going to be little cards that you can fill out, hand to an info guide at one of the info desks, and then you get a sticker in return so that you get something tangible to take home with you. And then we can monitor to make sure nothing inappropriate is written on them and post them in places that are really truly visible at the library, so that patrons come in and say, oh, wow, I want to learn how to play the ukulele to become my best self. I want to learn how to garden to become my best self. And they can see all of the different things that you can learn at the library to help you become your best self. The other accompanying one we have next to it is an advertisement that we placed in a print winter activity booklet. And then it's also going to be the theme of our January 2024 magazine theme. We've also partnered with programming for a learning week, which is going to be at the end of the campaign in January 22nd through the 28th, where basically they're going to do all of the amazing things that they already do, but we're going to brand it in like a really pretty package of saying, and add some here and there, of saying, here are all of the amazing things that you can do at the library to help you become your best self, whether that's building a business plan or how to songwriting workshops. We've got events with like Jess Walter and other authors in town. So we've got a lot of different ways that people can engage depending on what their interests are. So, and then we may or may not be doing billboards, but that is in the works in the background. So all of that to be said, does anyone have any questions? Also, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we have our 2018 UTGO Library Capital Bond Funds.
It's really hard to follow all the funds.
Oh, you're going to do great, Nicole.
Appreciate it.
You can blame me for that.
I'd also like to welcome Lorraine Leach, who's joining us online with Hill International for some next questions. If things come up that I might not be able to answer, depending. And thanks for joining us as well. I've been working very hard on this process. So, thank you. Okay, so just some background on this one. Again, we've been working with Hill International, also with Integris Architecture and lawyers at Perkins Coie, as well as City Legal on developing the bid solicitation process for the Nevada site property. Like I said in my update, we did have a total of 7 contractors submit bids. As you can see, there's a snapshot here of all the bids that we received. This is a little bit less traditional than what you've seen in the past. And so just for, just to be transparent, this process, we did receive a bid protest basically the very next day. We have received one in the past as well, but we're just working with the legal team at Perkins Coie and at City just to ensure that we are taking the right steps. So really what the goal is to ensure that the lowest bidder was a responsible bidder. So it's basically, we received it from TW Clark, who was the second lowest. So they can send a notification and protest the lowest bidder, claiming whatever it might be that they're not a responsible bidder. And so we just kind of have to do our due diligence and research to ensure, to basically see if they are a responsible bidder. At this time, it has been that Alpine Contractors is. We did issue an award letter, but there's still things that can happen. And so we're kind of leaving this agenda item a little bit open-ended so that we can make sure that we are able to legally award a contract if something goes wrong with that Alpine Contractors process. But so far, it looks really great. No actual issues. So to open for any questions or kind of maybe discuss some of that before we move on to the action item.
So is that like essentially a claim that like they're leaving something important out, or they don't know what they're talking about, or the reason their bid is low is because it's wrong?
What the claim was is that they're affiliated with a company that's located in Idaho who is currently debarred from Washington bid process. That is not concrete. There's no concrete evidence of that right now.
So it had really nothing to do with the amount of the bid.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, is it your default that you go with the lowest bid?
Yes, legally. We got it.
And then, if I recall correctly, the remaining budget is 1.6.
1.6.
And so with this 1.2, we would be in, well, I guess it's an open-ended one, so it could be 1.3.
Right, but we have other projects we're adding on as well. So some of those add-ons, would probably be too.
That would be good for Jim.
Yeah.
We'll be pretty close.
I just want to go back. The protests that they did, obviously these were sealed bids, right?
Yes.
So it was after the amounts were revealed and all of them. Is that when they did the protest, or did they protest that they were involved because of this being barred from?
They only they basically just protested that company, saying that they don't feel that they are legally able to formally bid on something in Washington State.
Before they saw their bid, they protested them. Is that what you're saying? Before they?
I think it was after. It was after. Yeah. Because the bid results, everybody gets to see those once it's closed.
And I know I keep belaboring the point, but I know that the amounts of the bids are sealed. Are the people, are the organizations that are bidding, are they known to each other, or is the whole thing a sealed process?
I might defer to Lorraine if she's available on that because they manage.
It is a public bid. They bring in their sealed bids. We open them and read them off to everybody who is there. And then they get published at the same place that, provided the bid documents. They provide the bid results. So that is all public. And when the second bidders saw that Alpine was low, that's when they protested. They wouldn't have protested if they wouldn't have been low.
Okay, so they knew Alpine was bidding.
Yes, there's a bidders list, and we had a mandatory pre-bid meeting. So there was actually 11 firms on there. So they knew who could bid the project. There was 11 possible, but only 7 actually ended up bidding it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other sort of gray areas we can help fill in?
So essentially the ask here is to give you permission to contract with whoever is determined to be the lowest responsible bidder.
Correct. Currently, we're looking at outside, of course, we don't have any immediate issues that I foresee at this moment.
I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I move that we approve proceeding with the execution of a contract with the lowest bidder that is identified. And to be, so I make that motion. That's all I gotta say.
Mayor moves that we accept the recommendation as presented.
That's what I said.
That's what I heard. Yeah. All right. Can we get a second? Or any other questions? Last question.
So I second hers.
So you do all. You just see.
You wanna go to the
I don't think I can do it.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All righty. And now, any additional items or changes we need to address in the agenda? All right.
I just want to say this was a great meeting to end the day on. Fun, engaging activity.
That's right. Does anybody sign up for public comment? Nope. Do we still have the online?
Yeah.
Check online. So our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, December 19th, 2023 at the Southfield Library. Okay, we will not have an executive session today, and we'll just wait to make sure there's no questions online.
We're good.
Okay. All right, so unless there's any other business anybody wants to bring up? No? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
thank you.
Thank you.